7 levels, 1 rocket, and everything humans need to survive in deep space. Using a concept design created by Design Freedom, I built and visualized what the inside of Starship might look like. From the fuel tanks at the very bottom to the flight deck at the top. Every section of Starship has been engineered for a specific purpose. Let's go through it, from top to bottom. One thing to keep in mind, this concept is shown with Starship standing vertically, to make the layout easier to understand. In space, many items could be foldable, movable, or arranged differently in zero gravity. At the very top, this is level 7, the header tank section. It stores fuel for one critical moment, landing, because when Starship descends back to Earth, the main tanks below are nearly empty, so this smaller reserve tank at the top is what keeps the engines running, right at the moment they're needed most. It's not a living space, it's a safety net. From here, liquid oxygen flows down through feed lines directly to the engines below. Moving down, we reach level 6, the flight deck, 10 seats arranged in a circular layout, roughly the size of a large living room. But unlike a plane, these seats don't just face forward, they rotate. Because when Starship launches, the crew faces one direction. When it lands, they need to face another. The seats physically adapt to the forces on the human body. Above the crew, overhead touchscreen panels replace every physical switch. No dials, no levers, everything is digital because weight matters on a rocket, and glass panels weigh far less than traditional cockpit systems. Around the outer edge, windows give the crew direct visibility outside, and in the center, a vertical access hatch connects this level to every floor below. Down one level, we arrive at level 5, the crew mess hall designed for around 20 crew members. This is where they eat, relax, and mentally recover from the isolation of space. Multiple food storage sections keep supplies always within reach. There's also a communication station and emergency equipment. The seating is flexible by design. Fixed areas, retractable tables, sections that fold completely flat in zero gravity. Because in space, you don't sit down to eat, you float. And at the top of the level, a large viewing window looks directly into space. On a mission lasting months, that window isn't a luxury, it's critical for mental health. Moving down, we reach level 4, the crew cabin level. Around the outer ring, 10 crew pod sections. Each pod is roughly the size of a large wardrobe, just enough space to sleep, store personal gear, and have some privacy during a months-long mission. Each one includes personal storage and its own audio-visual system. But the most important feature on this level is in the center. Surrounding the inner zone, a circular layer of water storage. And this is not just for drinking. Water is one of the most effective materials for shielding against radiation. Throughout the journey, it helps reduce the crew's exposure to radiation from the sun and deep space. During periods of high radiation, it could also provide an extra layer of protection. So the water system here does 2 jobs at once. It keeps the crew hydrated, and it helps keep them safe. Next, level 3, fitness and hygiene in space. The human body starts breaking down within weeks. Without gravity, muscles shrink, bones lose density, the heart weakens. So this level exists for one reason, to fight that. A dedicated fitness area forces the crew to exercise daily. A water filtration system and storage tank ensure clean water is always available. 4 separate wash and toilet compartments, each designed for zero gravity use. And again, another radiation-protected inner zone, using water as shielding. Notice the pattern. Multiple levels use water as a structural shield. It's one of the most elegant engineering decisions on the entire vehicle, using something the crew already needs as protection. Down again. Level 2, science and storage. Along the walls, standardized payload racks. These are modular, meaning they can be swapped for each mission. One mission they hold scientific experiments, the next, medical equipment, the next, systems for building a Mars base. Large storage areas hold tools, supplies, and mission equipment. The access hatch on this level is slightly off-center, a deliberate design choice, giving more floor space for moving equipment around. This is where Starship stops being a transport vehicle and becomes a working environment. And finally, Level 1, the EVA and external access level. This is where exploration actually begins. In the centre, space for an EVA rover. Around it, 6 astronaut positions where crew members suit up and prepare to go outside. A main external hatch acts as an airlock, a pressurised transition zone between the inside of the ship and the vacuum of space. Around the edges, storage for tools and equipment, communication systems, emergency gear. Everything within arm's reach, because when you're standing at the door of a spacecraft, you need everything ready. Below all of this, the Starship changes completely. We're no longer in living space. First, the liquid oxygen tank. This stores oxygen, not for breathing, but for combustion, because in space there is no air, so the rocket must carry its own. Just below that, the methane tank. Liquid methane is the main fuel. This is a simplified explanation of how the Starship engines work. Liquid oxygen flows down from the upper tank, while liquid methane flows down from the tank below. Inside the combustion chamber, the two propellants meet and mix together. They ignite, creating an enormous amount of superheated gas. That gas is forced out through the nozzle at incredible speed, producing the thrust that lifts Starship off the ground and carries it towards space, very top to the very bottom. This is not just a rocket, it's a complete system. A place where humans can live, work, and travel, all built above the power needed to leave Earth behind.